Namaste. Thank you for joining us. Namaste to you. Okay. So this is the first satsang of the traveling satsang. First occasion. Second?
See.
Leslie and then Todd.
All right. Yeah, of course. It was on Tuesday. That's right. Yeah, so we'll see. In 2 weeks, we're leaving for India. And those of you who are tuning in, there's not going to be a lot of difference for you. But because we're not going to be here with a live satsang in a group who keep me entertained with questions and keep me saying something, hopefully making halfway sense, I'm going to rely on all of you calling in from India. I'm going to rely on all of you to really engage us, because sometimes I sit here and I sort of just keep talking. I really prefer when it's a two-way conversation to talk about what most concerns you. One of the things about heart sourcing is that it's just eminently practical. It's about healing and transforming and enlightening our very lives where they are. Not some kind of heady teaching that loses touch with the ground of where we walk. So this of the heart has been known ever, but only to few people. In the East, where this kind of inner knowledge was supported by society, knowledge of the heart is much more refined than it was in the West. In the West, you can find, when you look for it, you can find it many places. The Desert Fathers, there are many quotes of the Desert Fathers with this knowledge. And also in modern times, here and there, you can hear about, you can read about the insights of the importance of the heart. So, the great Christian mystic Thomas Merton wrote, "At the center of our being is a point of nothingness, which is untouched by sin and illusion. A point of pure truth, a point, a spark which belongs only to God." There's more, but is to connect with your experience of the heart, the way you have practiced it. That depth, that softness, that healing power, that warmth that you have experienced coming from the heart. And make these words that I'm going to read connect with your experience, not to have it somebody else's descriptions about their experience, but connected with your intimate experience of this inner space, because our attempt is to become versed in not only knowing, but using this power. This is really the new thing that heart sourcing brings. It's the ability to use this infinite source of power and love inside of us, to use it directly and intimately to overcome the things that bother us, that may have bothered us for our entire life, or maybe lifetimes. And this inner place of heart, on time and space, has exactly that capacity. It's the most powerful healing force in creation. But let's go back to Thomas Merton. At the center of our being is a point of nothingness. Now, what does that mean? Point of nothingness. When you speak, where does that essence, that warmth, that love, that peace come from? It comes out of a space beyond time, out of a space beyond time and space, a reality beyond time and space, the very source of wisdom and love. So that's what he calls nothingness. The nothing has to be there for the something to arise. Let me say this a little more intelligible. When you look at an object, that object needs space to be there first. And we look at the object as something. Space is really, in a sense, nothing. Can you imagine space with no object at all defining it? Can you? No. That's why it is nothing. Only objects define it. But without space, there will be no objects. So that's that nothingness that underlies everything. Without a deep presence of silence, would there be sound and vibration possible? No. In the same way, the silence or stillness underlies all sound and vibration. So this nothing, reality beyond time and space, underlies all time and space. And we can also say that the fear and the anger, the grief and the sadness of the world has something that underlies it. And then the vast love of creation that we completely lose sight of, in the troubles of our personalities. So back to Thomas Merton. At the center of our being is a point of nothingness, which is untouched by sin and illusion. A point of pure truth. A point or spark which belongs only to God. That's the source in us. And he continues. This point or spark which belongs only to God, which is inaccessible to the fantasies of our own mind or the brutalities of our own will. This little point of nothingness is the pure glory of God written within us. It is like a pure diamond blazing with the visible light of heaven. The invisible light of heaven. When we imagine a light, we actually feel and experience the warmth and the light coming from the heart and engaging with our troubles, our emotions, our mind, our physical presence. The light is a metaphor because it comes out of that invisible light, invisible space, that space beyond. But the love is not a metaphor. When all is said is done, this love is the only thing that remains that is real. It is in everybody. And if we could only see it, we would see these billions of points of light coming together in the face and blaze of a sun that would make all the darkness and cruelty of life vanish completely. Let me read this again. It is in everybody, and hardly anyone knows it. It is in everybody, and if we could only see it, we could see these billions of points of light coming together in the face and blaze of a sun that would make all the darkness and cruelty of life vanish completely. So this is what we're doing with heart. Not only have a vision that allows us to see a deeper reality inside of us. We have a practical way of using that presence inside of to touch our individual human lives and to heal them and transform them in a to that presence inside of us. So let's be practical about it, because that's the name of this game. To practical, to make have meaning, to make effect, have an effect on us. So I invite you to think of something that's been a problem for you. I just yesterday worked with a man who had deep shakiness inside, this fear, this insecurity that doesn't come often, but he was in a situation that evoked it. And then I asked him how that showed up the first time. And he, little boy hiding. So I want you to feel something like that, something that is reliable, stressful, an aspect of your being that gets triggered often, and you're in a place of misery, a place of pain, a place of fear, perhaps, of grief, of anxiety. So what we're doing here, and we've done this before, just for the benefit of anyone new, we're identifying that place of trouble. And we identify it in the body, where it's a tangible body sensation. We identify exactly where and how we're feeling it in the body. That's how emotions manifest. So then we have that. And we also have the other pole inside of us, that small place of nothingness in the heart. And we evoke the power of the heart. And at first you can't feel that. It's too new, it's too different, it's too subtle. So you imagine it, you visualize a point of light deep in the core of your chest. And you allow that point of light to expand and become like a little sun that powerfully and effortlessly radiates its light in all directions, because this is the nature of a sun. And now this place of pain and this place of the remedy in the heart become connected. This place of pain is no longer alone, just flowing in its space of suffering. Source of the heart. And you allow that essence, which first you may just imagine it like a light, like a substance, like a nectar, that flows from the heart into that place of the pain. With some practice, you will be able to feel that. It will be a tangible experience. That experience will become increasingly strong as you become capable of sensing subtle and yet powerful energies. So then we have two things. We have this point of light, this point of the origin of love, the essence of life in the heart, and we have that place of suffering. So we send the essence of the heart into that place of suffering from the heart. We are the givers of love. And in that place of suffering, we absorb it. We absorb that heart essence. We open to it, we receive it. And sometimes that's the hardest thing for us. It's a relaxing, it's a letting it come in. Letting yourself be loved in the places that you've hated in the past. Even in the places of anger, the places you've judged. All of these aspects of you are just simply parts of you that need help. The suffering is always a cry for help. And now we see that the most potent help, the most potent healing comes from right inside of us. So this exchange of lover in your own heart and beloved. Strange, isn't it, to think of that place in you that has tortured you for decades, times, as the beloved. The part. But when lover and beloved meet inside of you, that meeting in love is absolutely safe. Nothing can disrupt it. You cannot be abandoned or betrayed. You are connecting with you. So let's do it in a practical way. Go to a memory of some emotion, some trouble, something that is reliably stressful to you. Let's make it concrete. Go to a specific time and place where that particular issue was triggered in you. Step into that memory. Sense already now this passion to yourself. Notice that. It's not the usual way you fall into this misery. You are approaching it from a place where you are in charge, where you are using your inborn wisdom and compassion to work some deep healing in you. So now stepping into that memory, Allow the emotion of it to come up. The terror, the tension, that contracted feeling, the inner emptiness, whatever it may be. Then size in your experience. Identify the location of it. How big is it? Space does it take up inside of your body? It could be anywhere in your body. It could even be your entire body. Or it could be caused by a physical issue. So turn to that old place of suffering with the intention of healing. And identify exactly where you feel, and then leave it there. And bring your attention to the heart and the very core of your being. And relax into the heart. Open to that presence in you. And perhaps imagine a point of light, brilliant point of light in the very core of your being that radiates effortlessly and powerfully in all directions and grows into a little sun. And as you relax, you can feel, you can actually experience the presence of this heart nectar in you. And for a moment, to connect deeply with the heart. Then connect the heart with that place of pain. And allow that loving warmth of the heart to flow into that place of pain and open there completely to receive it. Allow that great warmth to flow into that contracted place. And enjoy it. Enjoy receiving. Enjoy allowing yourself to be touched by the essence that's none other than yourself. And then notice what happens to that place of contraction, or pain, or emptiness in you. Just notice. Receive that heart essence even more deeply. And open yourself to have all the pain, all the years, all the decades, all the lifetimes of this pain, this particular pattern of upset, be healed now in that great, soft embrace of the essence of the heart. And as that place, that warmth of the heart, notice how the heart expands, how you get this sense of who you are. That you are this warmth, you are this depth, you are this very essence of love. And so let this essence of love permeate your entire being. Let it spread from you into the space, the room you're in. Let it embrace the people you're with. And notice how this essence of love can flow from you into your environment, and you lose nothing. Rather, you become more whole. You taste, you feel your depth more intimately. And let that essence of love flow from you into your community. So much suffering surrounds us. And there's this infinite richness in your heart, this infinite blessing. Let it radiate on all those people in your community. And notice that as you do this, the only thing that happens is that your heart strengthens. The heart essence gains in volume. And then expand even more and allow this essence of your heart to embrace your country, all the millions of people. And widen your embrace even more and let it include all of humankind, all creatures on this earth, all living beings anywhere. Let your heart find its true cosmic proportion. And notice that the more love you give, the more you feel. And then come back to your own body, to the confines of your present being. And fill yourself with this love. And receive this love. Take it in. Open completely to it. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Again. And now there's no need to leave the space of love, the space of the heart. Rather, we add to it the perception of our outer environment. Opening the eyes, looking at each other. Hi. Love. You know, we have in us a deeply seated concern that when we give, we will not have. That when we give, we lose. And that is just completely not the way it is. Not only when it comes to the heart, but even if you give something material, what happens? You may not have this object or this money, but that can be easily replaced. In fact, when you let go, make space for more of it to come. But what happens inside of you is that you become the person who's giving. Your soul acquires that quality of being able to give, to share, to be present fully with your being. And certainly the world around us can use that. But first of all, we get it. We are the beneficiary of any giving, whether it's giving to us or giving to others. We become who we already are in the deepest place. This place heart identity. But don't believe me when I say that. Just get curious and find out. And go into the steps deeper and deeper. And the other astounding thing is that the greater the pain is that we're addressing, the more the heart opens. Because there's no pain, there's no unhappiness, there's no fear, there's no sense of emptiness. Sometimes this disturbance comes as emptiness. That this love in us cannot fill. Now, there's a little trick about this experience of emptiness. A lot of people have this experience of emptiness and then try to fill it with some kind of addiction, whether it's in a behavior or a substance. And of course, it doesn't work. But the trick here is that the emptiness is often experienced in the chest. And then it's like, oh, it appears completely hopeless because everything feels so empty. But the place of fullness is in the very core, interior to this sensation of emptiness. The emptiness is a personality, the outer shell of who we think we are. That deepest heart is the presence of spirit. It is available and present in each and every one of us at all times, or we wouldn't exist. And it is sensed by the soul, the deeper, true being that you are. And the soul can then send it, can feed the personality, can heal the personality. And we become increasingly jointed in our being as personality absorbs some of that healing and some of that fullness. Become whole like this inside of us. That essence of the heart will communicate itself. There's not much we have to do. Sometimes we can remember to smile when we have a habit not to or so, you know. But it's not about that. It's not about this external expression so much. It's about our way of being, that there's something in us that is whole, that is full. And other beings around us can pick it up, not even consciously perhaps, but it communicates itself by assimilation. So it's this way that we find the source of love in us that is so important and so giving by itself. So that's all Okay, I invite you to send some questions in. When I have my glasses on, I can actually see what you're writing. Share with us what you've been dealing with. Let's not be all quiet and blissful. Talk to me about and what was your experience when you allowed that sense of pain to connect the Why am I asking you this? Because then it becomes more real. And it may be really helpful for others to hear this, because we all have so similar issues. Leslie?
On Sunday, after the retreat, and kind of during it, I was getting super emotional because you guys are leaving, and I'm seeing the space that I've called home for several years now starting to change, and things being moved out. And it was really, really difficult for me. And, you know, I'm sitting with that. I left and I said, I have to just sit with this and sit with that and let it absorb me, not run from it and trying to do. But it's you know, I don't have a lot of physical attachments for me because it's a spiritual connection and it's a little bit different than just kind of basic surface relationships.
Okay. So in case you didn't hear it, Leslie is describing her pain because we're leaving and she thinks she's losing her spiritual source here. See, there's always the time when a teacher or somebody precious to us disappears or leaves. And of course, leave it to the mind, it makes a big drama about it. In all of us. But what actually happens when you see past your particular drama or grief or whatever it is that what you have with this person, even if someone dies, what you have with this person is meant to go deeper. That love that you feel you connect in your mind with the other person. But where are you feeling it? Point yourself back to you. That's where you're feeling it. And the time comes in any relationship that love cannot experience with the person present, and it throws us back into that inner space. And now we can fall into the pain of it, or that space of the heart, and actually allow the depth and the power of that to happen. Now, I know it's very bewildering. I remember very well. I had just pulled the plug, pulled the core of the universe out, and I couldn't quite relate to it. It was like for me. But it wasn't, it took me a while to get to the place, in this case, this is not a prescription of what's going to happen with you. But in this case, it took me a while to get to that grief. And when I was able to express it and go beyond it, that was the beginning of understanding that it was here all the time. It is here all the time. When you've had the blessing of being with another person and feeling the depth of your love with this other person, when the other person is no longer available to you in the physical realm, it's time for that love to be owned by you completely. In other words, go deep. You gain, you get more, not less. The mind's lose. It's not fair. Rewind. And it's that attitude that actually then creates the pain. Nothing in reality creates that pain. Just our story about it. Oh, I'm losing something. And I understand this can all sound very theoretical right now, but I'm just simply pointing, that's all I can do, because what your experience will be is really completely up to you. But we have these experiences that we've been conditioned, like if somebody leaves that we love, then we grieve. And I would just question that. On the level of thoughts, you can question, I'm losing something. Question that. We have these skills for a purpose. We have them, so we use them. What's the opposite of I'm losing something? I'm gaining something. So go right now, go into you and ask yourself, what am I gaining? And let it be concrete. You're shaking your head, but you're not saying anything.
Oh. Am I supposed to say what
Oh,
I
yes.
feel like I'm
Yeah,
doing?
it's a question, no?
Okay, so I'm gaining through this process. It's created an even deeper connection.
So how do you know that? So the process created an even deeper connection. How do you know that? This is what I'm always saying. Be specific. Be concrete. We can come up with the most wonderful theories of how great everything is. And then the next moment we fall on our face again because it's just a theory. I want this concrete. What is it that you're gaining? How do you know that that's real?
Because as soon as I heard you guys were leaving, I just felt this incredible feeling of, oh my God, I love them with all my heart. You know, I kind of would, you know, there were periods I would show up, and you know, I'd be there for a while, and then I do this and that, and then I don't allow myself to feel that much, and I just had to. I knew the importance of being with that love and being truly, and it happened, and I'm very scared of that kind of love. That's not comfortable. But the other option was to run away, and I wasn't going to do that because of what you taught me.
The inquiry that this love is too much or it's not comfortable, right? That's another inquiry. Just make a mental note of that, right? So what I'm hearing you say, when you heard that we're leaving, you became much more acutely aware of the love that you felt. Right there, you've gained a lot. Right? So this is, you know how this is. When somebody leaves, we suddenly notice how much we really love them and how, you know, precious it is. Funny, isn't it, that it only happens when somebody leaves? Right? And that's the big trouble when somebody dies and you realize, oh my God, you know, I really missed out on this one, right? So don't let it happen. Don't let it happen. Now, with all of your relationships, so one example. So you came to know how much love you actually felt, right? So you gained something there. You're not going to lose something. So what else did you gain? Now you can, you're not experiencing something similar to what Leslie is experiencing about our leaving. What you can do is go back to the time when somebody you really loved died. And ask yourself, what did I gain then? Maybe even you still have some grief hanging around. What did I gain then? Let's question that idea of losing something. And of course, what we're doing here, we're doing a quick take on the work of Byron Katie in terms of working with our thinking. Because when I believe that I'm losing something, and I believe that as long as I believe that, that's my experience. So when I question that thought and I find out actually what's true is that I'm gaining something, well, then that's my experience. And generally, I would go for that one. So what else are you gaining? Concrete.
I'm gaining the experience of seeing you and Durga walk with 2 feet on the ground on the path of your beloved. And that just solidifies it in the importance of keeping both feet on that path at all times. Because the energy just went to a whole different level with this decision. It just kept growing and growing, and that just made so much sense to me. That's why.
Right. So you're gaining the ability to walk in your own love with both feet on the ground. Very good. You know, and does it make sense to you that it's actually better for us to leave, for you to have that?
Oh, absolutely.
She's shaking her head.
No, it's better. Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, because I am kind of in turn walking, finding my feet stronger on that path of my truth by seeing you doing this and seeing that energy. So it's this transference of that love, staying committed to that love that is all important.
So you got 2 examples. Now you have a third one? Now when you find something like this, you find what you think is a problem, and you're actually in the process of like really questioning that and really turning it inside out for yourself. Milk it. Milk it for all it's worth, right? Find all the ways that this is a good thing, not a bad thing, as the mind was saying to you. So Another example for I'm gaining something.
The ability to walk through my fears and stay present in a
Beautiful.
situation that otherwise would be painful and cause me to run away.
The ability to walk through her fears. Very good. Excellent. You know, fears are these monsters, like monsters in a dream. This weekend we had a seminar, I think it was there, that I talked about a man I worked with many years ago who had this repetitive dream night of this great threatening, he called it the Hulk, this muscle man coming to hurt him. And this had started when he was a little boy and was being abused in his childhood. And it was a dreadful dream. He would have ever. And he was so afraid. He was actually half aware that he was dreaming, but it was still so real that he was just paralyzed in fear. Himself out of this dream until he finally woke up, and every time the sheets were drenched in sweat from fear. So really intense. Now, when I worked with him, he was in his 40s, and the dream came much less. It came maybe once every week or every 2 weeks. And when I heard about that dream, I simply asked him to relax and to go back into that image of him facing that monster, the Hulk. And when he was in that place, consciously this time, not sleeping, dreaming, he was consciously in that place. And the Hulk came, and I saw him going into the fear. You can see it physiologically on his face and so on, at his eyes closed. And I had primed him before. I said, just press the pause button, like on your remote control. You can do that when you're aware in an imagery scene like that. So press the button. And so he felt a little bit more safe because the dream had stopped, the imagination had stopped. And then I asked him what he wants. And to his absolute amazement, the Hulk said one word: friendship. And it was at that point that that whole dreadful nightmare of his life came to an end. And that dream never came back. And his life started changing in all kinds of different ways. And in the same way, you see, we create these monsters in our thinking. I'm losing something. This person shouldn't have died. And we have to first deal with this with our full human compassion. And there's pain and there's grief, to allow ourselves to have our feelings. And this is important because we can't go into the head taking what I'm saying now and then sort of abort the healing by this old pattern of telling ourselves, I shouldn't be feeling what I'm feeling. Right? So first of all, we need to show up with what we're feeling. This is what we're doing in art sourcing, isn't it? So you find the pain, you find the grief, you connect it with the heart essence. And through that, you find the power of your heart. Because the stronger the pain is, the greater the love will be. The love will always be greater. Except when you get stuck in thought, pain real. This may not be clear because the pain seems so real, because maybe you've experienced it all your life. there's no pain that the love in your heart and the truth you can find in your thinking mind cannot overcome. And find out for yourself. Engage those parts of your being that are still caught in some kind of pain. Don't start with the worst ones. Start with the ones you think you can handle. The manageable size ones. And strengthen your heart. Seek the truth about your thoughts, and they will set you free. The truth will set you free. Okay, anyone else? Feel free to write in if you have any questions or comments. There we go.
I have more examples of how Leslie have gained.
Okay,
Do you want to hear them?
great. Share it with her.
The leadership was taken. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's absolutely amazing. That when she realized that we were leaving, she's like jumping in to do everything, to help with everything, eventing her own process without me asking, taking her own initiative. Just amazing, and supporting every step of this process. It has really gone deeply. So I think you're gaining more self-confidence. You jump at now first, and you set up so beautifully. So there's a lot in the decision of us. Thank you. It's a good thing that you can manage that. Oh God. Hello.
Okay, anyone else? Is it that you share compared to before?
Before when?
Just now?
Now?
Yeah.
Amazing, because
Yeah.
it's like when you start to shift your choices of thoughts and that you can attach to things that are beautiful and full of love.
So
Why not?
what I want the rest of you who are sitting here and not speaking, what I want you to do, and I don't know what's going on with you, but I want you to look for something. I want you to look for the force of the pain body. See if you can find it. The force in you that holds on to whatever you're holding on to. Yeah?
So Sunday, I had a conversation and I thought that someone was lying to me, a very close person was lying to me. And I spent quite a few hours in rage. Yeah, so in pain.
Mm-hmm. Like betrayed or lied to. It's good enough.
Yeah, not betrayed, because in my mind, if they're lying, they're hurting themselves. Okay, they're not being honest, basically. But then, of course, there's that controlling part way that tries to convince me that I'm just, no, I've also felt pain because this person was lying to me. But it was a good day because we had the retreat. So I had a lot to work with. And it helped a lot. In the way that it helped that person was not hurting me. And whether they told me the truth or not was not hurting me either. I was hurting me. I was hurting me with my questioning, with my rage.
That's the only possibility.
Right.
It's okay. One of the things you can do is ask yourself, where does this emotion, this problem, this issue arise? The answer is you. That's where it's bothering you. Maybe somebody's behaving in what you think are impossible ways. What hurts you is what's going on in you. You can always come to you to resolve it. And that is the only skillful way. We have tried to fix them for thousands and thousands of years. And now today I just read that there was a committee of 1,000 specialists in artificial intelligence, who some really big names, who put out a warning that human beings should not go forward with creating artificial intelligent war machines. In other words, machines that make their own decisions of whom to kill. That's where the technology is now, right? That's where the tradition of trying to fix it in them has brought us. This is very sobering if you think about it. You know, imagine there's like now these powers, they can do it now. The queens that are war machines and make their own decisions about what to shoot at, what to kill. It's high time that we start to find that reality of the heart. What else is going to fix us in this crazy state of the mind that we've gotten ourselves into? And guess what? It's not going to happen on the level of governments. It's going to happen here, in you, one person at a time. Because we are teachers. You are the teachers, showing how we need to live. And it's actually incredible when you think about it, because humanity, through this technological development, is now destroying itself in so many different ways that we either have to learn or we will perish. And you know what? That's what to, because the ego doesn't want to learn, it wants to get its way, it wants to continue its madness. But maybe if it gets to the point that it itself is being annihilated, some shift can occur. Some deeper truth that's based in compassion and wisdom and heart can arise. But who is going to show humanity that? Where is it going to come from, if not from us? You think the president is going to make a law that this is how it's going to be? Heck no. You know how because people had it up to here. It didn't come from the government. The government simply followed the people when they had it up to here. It was a shift inside of the people, and all great shifts happen like that. They happen because of very sometimes Find something else that is so true and so precious that it cannot be resisted. And that is what we have. The practical use of the power of the heart. The practical use. We use it to heal ourselves in the deepest places. Because you see, the deeper we go, the greater of a pain we elicit for our healing, the more powerful it will become. It already has all the power in the world, but we don't know it because we have not manifested in us. We have allowed ourselves to experience it. So the greater the pain we deal with, whether it's our own or others, the more powerful our heart will reveal itself to be. Yes.
Yes, I would like to ask because I have been like fighting.
You have what? I'm sorry?
Fighting
Fighting?
with a lack of energy, like a lack of. I don't. Sometimes I lose my my sense of life. What I am living for. What is the sense of love? What is the meaning of everything? I have been like in a roller coaster of that. Sometimes I find that everything is perfect, but sometimes it's the same feeling of what I'm doing, but you know, what is the point of working? What is the point of having this house that is not mine? And I'm very, very, you know, like very tired of living. But in my work, yesterday I had the experience. Uh, every day like a fight to go to work, to you know, to wake up, to dress myself. But yesterday I had this experience that was very nice. That I felt completely happy in my work, and I suddenly realized that it was present, creative. You know, I hear them. I was present. I realized that my lack of energy came from not being present. You know, because I have to fake the smile, I have to fake the you know, say hello to the people or talk to them. And when you can, you don't want to do that. You get tired more. You know,
Faking it is really hard.
And if you really listen to the people, and if you really interact with your heart, with your real care, no, it's better. It's useful.
So you already.
How can I do this more often? How can I interact in that way from the heart?
Well, you don't. Don't interact from the heart. You begin with you, and this is exactly what we've been doing here. It's you're describing not a particular emotion, but sort of an outcome. A lot of mind stuff, like what's this life all about? What's, you know, why am I here? This doesn't make any sense, you know. And this is just the spinning thoughts that go on and sabotage us. So you feel a lack of energy. Well, can you feel that in your body when you're in that place?
Totally.
Exactly. Well, there you go. In the core of that is that infinitely powerful heart. Connect the two poles. You're in this powerlessness, in this listlessness, in this, you know, not feeling right. In the very core of you, you have the gift of all gifts, and you're ignoring it. Nurture yourself.
That is any excess because by myself I cannot do it.
It's like
What have we been doing here? You're asking me, is there an exercise for this? What have we been doing there? This is exactly what I'm pointing to. Lay down when you feel at your weakest, or at any time. Feel that weakness. Feel like the life is draining out of you. And then come into that innermost place and find the nectar that is there, because it is there. How much weakness and how much pain is it going to take until you become motivated enough to really go deep, so you find it not just as an idea, but as an actual sensation, as this profoundly powerful healing and rejuvenating energy that arises from out of nowhere, inside of you, literally out of nowhere, out of that space in you, that gate that leads beyond space and time into your true essence, your divine essence, that was there before all this got created. But you prefer to stay busy complaining about everything in your head and not being present. You have an emotional attachment to that weakness. Look at that, find it. That's really good to see. That's what, I don't know, from person to person, but that's why at least some of you are sitting here and not speaking. You're entitled to misery. You can have it until forever. No one is going to take it from you. It cannot happen that way. It has to be you who wants to be free of it. And I'm showing you the medicine is in you. And you say, what do you do? Is there a practice?
Remains in itself, and there's moments where I don't feel my heart.
Of course there's moments when you don't feel your heart. What happens in those moments? Look at it. Where are you? Where's your attention?
Somewhere else than
exactly.
being present.
Right. Well, these moments when we can't feel the heart, they have a purpose. Their purpose is to help us feel the heart. Everything has as its purpose, everything that does, every suffering has as its purpose its opposite. When I'm really angry, what is the purpose of that? For me to find this profound source of kindness in me. When I feel scared and insecure, what is the purpose of that? Yeah.
I mean, the analogy that strikes me is your discomfort, your unease, and your pain, and sadness, tiredness. Whenever you're somewhere and you hear a car alarm and you're ignoring it, that's really annoying. Actually, tell it, right? So feeling that, it's your body saying, "Hey, over here, come over here, and
hello,
check this out, because I'm over here, and you're God knows where."
Exactly.
So thank you.
Yeah. And it's like, but we're so comfortable. We're so comfortably settled in our misery. It identifies with, I'm the one who doesn't have any energy. I'm the one who has this long story of grief that's been like for 30 years I've carried around. I'm the one who has this particular history of suffering and being abused or whatever. Well, how wonderful is that really? That we have to keep keeping it up. We have the option, you see, and it's like what's going to happen is that if you don't voluntarily change, then it's like the sword of Kali is going to get you. In other words, your suffering at one point will become so intense that you have no choice but to change. But why wait? Why wait? The story is of the beggar who goes around feeling miserable and feeling like a victim and looking for crumbs off the rich people's table, and just complaining and whining. And every night he goes to his miserable little hut. He has a brick there, and he has a, what do they call these sacks? Burlap. And he puts his up sack and complains about his life and goes to sleep. One day he's standing again, begging in his miserable self, and somebody comes and says, "Why don't you look in that burlap sack that you sleep on every night?" And he goes home, and he opens the bag for the first time, and there's a bar of gold in there that can build him a palace. We are all like that. So how miserable do you have to get before you look in the burlap bag inside of your heart? How miserable do you have to get? The compassionate reality is that you will get that miserable eventually. It's like life is going to kick you in the behind. But why wait? Nothing is gained by more pain. The point is to want it, to practice it. You have to want to awaken. Lumbering version. And what can inspire you is that very essence of the heart that we're talking about. So if you've ever felt even a little bit of it, go for it. Go for the whole enchilada. The essence of the heart, when you use it, only then, so infinitely more powerful than your suffering and your complaints and your indulging. And that essence of the heart is what you really are. You're not that miserable worm. Person, going from one drama to the next. You are this infinite love, this absolute truth is your being, your possession. But you have to take it. Nobody's going to force you on it. If you want to continue to be that suffering creature, no one will stop you. But you, because you are the master of your fate. No one else's. No teacher, no guru, no God will take it from you. You are that teacher, that guru, that God. And until you realize that that's who you are, you're going to opt for being miserable little ego person. Free yourself. Make it in such a way that it is irreversible. I am going to do this, period. I'm not going to let myself get away with more indulging. Yeah.
Could you take the memory of having that moment of presence when she felt so good and use that as almost a memory to meditate with, to open that place in our heart, to just maybe create a bigger opening there that's more accessible to her? Because sometimes that bridge to
she knows love
from here to the can be very cloudy and muddled over.
But she knows love.
No, and that's what I'm saying. That place of love that you were feeling, so much you said yesterday, and that's so
No.
I'm not present because it's a very hostile place. So I, it was from people, gossips.
No.
That
No.
affects you.
No. Where is the hostile place that you suffer from? Your suffering is not out there in that hostile place of the world. Where is your suffering?
Well, my suffering is not out there, but the gossips and the hostility is out there.
Okay, you can insist on it.
It's like I am not able to confront that every day. Get tired.
You don't have to confront that reality. You've been in reality and losing. That's not the war you're in. If the world is hostile, look to yourself. The place where you experience your misery is in you. That's where it needs to be fixed, where it can be fixed. If they were different, then I could do it. Meanwhile, the reality appears hostile to you and will become more hostile to you until you get it. That it's not about changing them, it's about changing you. And the fact that the world is hostile to our way of indulging, our way of being blind to our own magnificence, that's a compassionate reality. The way the world makes us suffer, in order to finally get us to the point where we want to wake up. The compassion of the world. And that's what all the suffering in the world is for. This is not a child's game. We're dealing with reality here. Reality is not what we have come to believe it is in our conditioned brains. Get everything backwards. Reality is the magnificence of who we truly are and what is waiting inside of us. And everyone here has had some taste of it, or you wouldn't be attracted to what we're doing here. So let yourself be attracted more to that magnificence in you, that essence of the heart. There's all the love and all the energy in the world is waiting inside of you. And it's been waiting and waiting and waiting. And you've been busy. You've been busy complaining about them, making them bad, so you could feel okay about yourself. But how okay are you really feeling? You're not feeling okay. They cannot hurt you in truth. They come and they push your buttons. So you react until you get tired of reacting and you say, oh, maybe I need to change something about me. And at that moment, your world changes and your energy comes back. You know, it's funny, of all the Hindu goddesses, they come in all kinds of shapes, forms, and sizes. The most compassionate one is Kali, that black mother that is like the fiercest warrior in the world. What She's a force in all of us. She's an archetypal force in every being. It is the force that goes after truth, after freedom, after love, at all cost. Let my indulgence, my ego trips, my drama, my attachment to being this person that is miserable, let it be destroyed. But how can it be destroyed? It is destroyed by your insight. Kali is your intuition. There's a story to that. You know, these are all these stories. These are not about outer goddesses or something. They're about forces in us, shaktis in us. There's this demon. She's fighting on the Durga is fighting on the battlefield, right? And this particular demon, what is a demon? A demon is a force of negativity, indulgence inside of us, right? That battle happens inside of us. Durga is who you really are, the divine force of all forces, who sits in your heart. And there's one demon, one ego aspect that has this particular gift that whenever the goddess cuts him on the battlefield and a drop of his blood drips on the floor, a new demon just like him pops up. So it's like instant cloning. And Durga fights with him for a while, and so then there are thousands of this demon around him, thousands of versions of him. And she noticed, well, this is not going well. And she wrinkles her eyebrows. This force in you says, okay, I'm going to have to just step this up a little bit. And out of her third eye springs forth Kali, this black goddess, nude, with her hair wild, a garland of skulls around her neck. The skulls of all the ego aspects she has already overcome. And she's going after that one with absolute ferociousness. What is that ferociousness? It is your will to be free. Aren't you done being mamsy-pamsy about your life? And then her tongue comes out, this enormous tongue, and it all the blood of this demon before it can hit the ground. So that demon can no longer multiply. That multiplication, what is it? What is multiplying like that? So I went on, no, I can't do it. I don't know. This is not right. These people are bothering me.
Distractions. Distractions.
Distraction, yeah. So she laps up all this blood, these drops of blood before they can hit the ground. And she stops this process of multiplication of our own indulgence, our own ignorance. So what is that inside of us? What is that tongue? That tongue is a higher mind that can see what the lower mind, our thinking mind, doesn't see, our conditioned mind, that just wants to keep indulging a little bit more. Drama circus. But that deeper mind, the higher mind, the intuitive intelligence in you, that's that tongue of Kali. And it stops the process of your indulgence continuing to multiply. And the process of losing yourself in the world gets reversed, and you find yourself. And you realize that every moment where something is bothering you is a gift. And you address it from that place in you that is capable of addressing it, that is capable of overcoming everything. You have that power in you, the power to set yourself free. You have the power that That story of the Hulk, the man who got stuck in this dream, he was half awake, half asleep, in absolute terror. You have the power to wake yourself up. The how to do it is right there. That's what we teach. That's what we help you understand. But if you don't do it, might as well read a Mickey Mouse comic. It's maybe a better use of your time. Set yourself free. What do you have to lose? Your treasured little dance of ego? But you got a whole world of love to gain. And that world of love feels good because it's true to who you are. What is stressful and suffering, it's bad because it's not true to who you are. We are not these suffering beings that we think we are. We are free and powerful beyond imagination. So I invite you to go for that. Let's close with another short little meditation. Bring your attention into the innermost space in the chest, your hridayam, your spiritual heart. Relax into that place in you. And find there in the very core of your being the will to overcome indulgence. Find there pure aspirations for freedom. Decision to let that force become real in your life, rule your life. Or to remain in the place of suffering. No one deserves to suffer. This idea is nothing but a complete distortion of the mind. Relevant what you have done. You deserve to be free because freedom at your very core. You are that love that is waiting to be experienced. You are the presence of God wanting to be known here in this world. In this package. And you can be free right now to say yes to that. So take a deep breath. Exhale. Once more. And namaste. Namaste. Thank you for joining us.